Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala.
Talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi, January 23rd, 1936. Talk number 145. Mr. Paul Brunton asked, "Why do religions speak of gods, heaven, hell, etc.?" Maharshi replied, "Only to make the people realize that they are on par with this world and that the self alone is real. The religions are according to the viewpoint of the seeker. Take the Bhagavad Gita, for instance. When Arjuna asked that he would not fight against his own relatives, his elders, etc., in order to kill them and gain the kingdom, Sri Krishna said, 'Neither these beings, nor you, nor I have ever ceased to exist, nor will we ever cease to be. Nothing is truly born, nothing truly dies, nor will it ever be otherwise,' and so on. Later, as he developed the theme and declared that he had given the same instruction to the sun, through him to Ikshvaku, etc., Arjuna raised the doubt, how could it be? You were born a few years ago, they lived ages ago. Then Sri Krishna, understanding Arjuna's standpoint, said, yes, there have been so many incarnations of myself and yourself. I know them all, but you do not know. Such statements appear contradictory, but still they are correct according to the viewpoint of the questioner. The Christ also declared that he was even before Abraham. The devotee then asked, what is the purpose of such descriptions in religions? Maharshi replied, only to establish the reality of the self. The devotee then asked, Bhagavan always speaks from the highest standpoint. Sri Bhagavan with a smile said, people would not understand the simple and bare truth, the truth of their everyday, ever-present and eternal experience. That truth is that of the self. Is there anyone not aware of the self? They would not even like to hear it, whereas they are eager to know what lies beyond, heaven, hell, reincarnation, etc. Because they love mystery and not the bare truth, religions pamper them, only to bring them round to the self. Wandering here and there, you must ultimately return to the self. Then, why not abide in the self, even here and now? The other worlds require the self as the spectator or speculator. Their reality is only of the same degrees as that of the spectator or thinker. They cannot exist without the thinker. Therefore, they are not different from the self. Even the ignorant man sees only the self when he sees objects, but he is confused and identifies the self with the object, that is, the body with its senses and place in the world. Subject and object all merge in the self. There is no seer nor object seen. The seer and the seen are the self. There are not many selves either. All are only one self. January 26, 1936. In this talk 146, in a reply to Miss Leena Sarabhai, a cultured Indian lady of high rank, Sri Bhagavan said, the state of equanimity is the state of bliss. The declaration of the Vedas, I am this or that, is only an aid to gain equanimity of the mind. The devotee then asked, so is it wrong to begin with a goal? Maharshi replied, if there be a goal to be reached, it cannot be permanent. The goal must already be there. We seek to reach the goal with the ego, but the goal exists before the ego. What is in the goal is even prior to our birth, that is, the birth of the ego. Because we exist, the ego appears to exist too. If we look on the self as the ego, then we become the self. If we look on the self as the mind, we become the mind. If we look on the self as the body, we become the body. It is the thought that builds up sheets in so many ways. Similarly, take no notice of the ego and its activities, but see only the light behind. The ego is the I thought, the true I is the self. The devotee then asked, "Is it one step to realization?" Maharshi said, "Realization is already there. The state free from thoughts is the only real state. There is no such action as realization. Is there anyone who is not realizing the self? Does anyone deny his own existence?" Speaking of realization, it implies two selves, the one to realize, the other to be realized. What is not already realized is sought to be realized. Once we admit our existence, how is it that we do not know ourselves? Devotee: because of the thoughts, the mind. Quite so, said Maharshi. It is the mind that stands between and veils our happiness. How do we know that we exist? If you say because the world around us, then how do we know that we existed in deep sleep?